Hey everyone, my name's Walter and I'm back here with more stories I found on Reddit. Today we're covering a subreddit for people to tell a story about something that happened to them and ask who is wrong. Reddit Am I the Asshole I think was meant as a resource to ask questions, but now a lot of people read it for entertainment, so I'm here to narrate some stories. Let's get into it with stories from Reddit Am I the Asshole. We're going to be starting with a wedding story, as I often do. Am I the asshole for not helping my sister pay for her wedding even though I could easily afford it just because of a petty reason? I, 33 female, have a younger sister, Jamie, 31 female, who got engaged to her fiancé a few months ago and now she's deep into wedding planning. Our parents gifted us $25,000 each as a wedding present when we got engaged to help with wedding expenses and just help us get started with some savings. For background, I got married 2 years ago to my husband and we practically had little to no expenses. We just did a small wedding ceremony/celebration in my parents' backyard, and I used my mom's old dress, so our only expenses were really just food and photography. Due to this, we saved $20,000 of the money we were gifted and just put it into savings. Although my husband and I were happy with our day, Jamie had a lot to say. She practically spent every single family event after the wedding gossiping about how my wedding was so trashy and cheap. I think she expected a lot more from me because I work as a software engineer and my husband is a surgeon, and we could have afforded to have a much nicer wedding. Now it's time for her wedding and she has plans to go all out for it, which I couldn't care about if she could afford it, but instead she has become a greedy bridezilla, asking anyone and everyone for cash. My parents refused to give more than the original $25,000, and other family members have chipped in, but maybe $5,000 max combined. Unfortunately, my sister knows I have saved the $20,000 for my parents, and that my husband and I have a good amount of money saved up because of our salaries. She has been asking me non-stop to give her the $20,000 as a wedding gift or help pay for another one of her events, like the bridal shower, bachelorette, rehearsal dinner, or honeymoon. Her reasoning is that my husband and I could easily afford to gift her one of these things. And I even gifted my cousin a honeymoon vacation as a wedding gift last year, so why couldn't I do something similar for my only sibling when I did that for a cousin? She's right in the sense that I could easily afford to pay for parts of her wedding, but in all honesty, I don't want to give her anything after she treated me so poorly following my own wedding. I told her my reasoning and that I don't want to financially support someone who didn't support me on my big day, and now she has been going around telling my family that I'm extremely selfish and immature for this. Apparently, she has already put down deposits on a lot of services and vendors for her plans and just expected me to help pay for it. But now she has no way of paying the vendors, and she can't get her deposits back either. So now my family wants me to help her out so she doesn't lose the little money she already has. I just don't see how this is my problem. Am I the asshole? Man, is it normal to just be given $25,000? And what kind of a person decides that isn't enough help with their wedding? And this crap about paying for someone else's honeymoon. If you can't afford it, then don't go. This obviously isn't much of a question. Yeah, let me give you 20 grand so you can turn around and talk about how your wedding was better than mine to people you think actually give a fuck. Not the asshole. She got a sum of money for it, and if she can't stay within that budget, nobody else needs to pay her a penny. You don't even owe her 5 cents. You were smart to have a low-budget wedding and have money for other things after. Smart, smart, smart. She was rude, rude, rude. Sister's audacity is so lacking in self-awareness that it's almost comical. Even if she hadn't spent the last 2 years publicly trashing OP's wedding, she still wouldn't be entitled to any money. And her behavior after OP's decision only shows that OP made the right one. And this obviously isn't my area of expertise, but a lot of people are also saying that you can actually get a very fancy wedding for $30,000. This next one is kind of a food story, but kind of not really. Am I the asshole for wanting to make my boyfriend homeless because of my lunch habits? Alex, male 30, and I, female 33, got together in late 2019 and recently decided to move in together. I asked for a trial run where we both kept our flats for a few months so no one loses their place if it doesn't work out. He had issues with this, but I held firm that it was for everyone's benefit, and he eventually agreed. We decided he'd stay with me as my flat is bigger and closer to his work, then after a few months we'd look for a house. I work at home, and he's now close enough to his office to come back for lunch. He initially assumed we'd be eating lunch together each day because I'm home, but I don't eat lunch and I don't take a break for it. My preference is to take smaller breaks when I want them and eat a snack around 3 p.m. A piece of fruit and a bag of nuts is my go-to. I can already tell I'll be annoyed here. I love it when people assume my time has no value just because I'm not physically forced to be somewhere. This has been an issue since he moved in. He walked in while I was on calls 2 days running and loudly commented about it being lunchtime in the UK. I work for an international organization. I was furious as it prompted an unnecessary and awkward conversation with my boss, who was concerned I was risking burnout. He agreed to knock going forward, although my position is that during his lunch hour, we don't really need to make time to see each other at all, as he'll be back for the day in 5 hours. The issue is he then started insisting I need to eat breakfast and lunch even if he's not included. For context, I gained some weight when I started working from home, and my current eating habits suit my schedule while keeping my weight where I want it. His claim is that I starve myself to log in as soon as I wake up and that I'm too obsessed with work to take breaks. I've explained that my eating habits suit me and I don't want to change them, but he uses me eating normally at the weekend as some kind of gotcha and won't accept what I'm saying. He brings it up daily. This is a problem, but not the problem. The problem is that this has been going on for nearly a month and it just isn't the life for me. We sat down to talk this evening and I said that I'm not enjoying living together and that it's too much too soon, so I'd like him to move back to his place this weekend. Turns out he did not keep the flat. He gave it up straight away and moved his stuff to his mom's. His reasoning being he knew we'd be fine. Dear reader, we are not fine. He says I need to put the effort in to work through this and compromise, and that I'm too angry to talk, and me being a workaholic is going to cost us the relationship, so we'll calm down and talk about it another time. My position is that him lying about his place is a deal breaker even if the rest wasn't. My best friend just had a baby and my mom's on holiday, so I have no one to tell me if I'm out of order. Reddit, am I the asshole? Edit, so I realized after posting this, and after he'd stormed out, that there's a bonus element here. We agreed that because we were both keeping our flats, he wouldn't contribute to my rent/bills because he still had all his normal outgoings. He has bought groceries a few times and took me out for a meal the first weekend he came, but other than that, he has been living for free. I am livid. Edit, I'm off to bed now, but he is still angling to come back here tonight and is churning out reasons why I should let him. It's absolutely not happening. I'm only realizing now just how frustrated I've been over the past few months, so I'm letting it all spew out. My door is double locked and my phone is on silent. Thank you for your advice and validation. You've riled me up and it's given a shitty and upsetting situation a massive turnaround. Well, sounds to me like he made himself homeless. He agreed to this situation where he'd keep his own apartment and then he lied and didn't do it. Men should really just keep their word, it's important, but then his explanation that he just knew better and knew there wouldn't be any problems? Well, good thing that turned out to be the case. Sounds like he was going to be an annoying, controlling dickhead anyway. Not the asshole. This is a solid him problem. You agreed to a trial run, which was sensible. He thought he knew better and lied to you the whole time because he was certain it would work out in his favor. If that was his position, I'm not sure why he felt that being controlling and obsessed about your breaks or food intake was a smart move. That doesn't exactly scream I'm easy to live with. I'd say he made his bed, but it sounds like he stored it at his mom's house instead. This is great because she didn't even think it was that bad until Reddit pointed it out. LMFAO, he can stay at his mom's with the rest of his stuff. I used this line. It's a gem. He and I are messaging now, and he just told me that no hotels will let him stay at this time of night. I have no idea if that's a thing, as I've never turned up at a hotel at midnight, but it sounds fake. So I wheeled it out in response, along with a crack about how he's got plenty of spare cash this month to throw at the hotel problem. He's giving me reasons he couldn't possibly disturb his poor old mum, but I think he's failing to grasp that I don't care if or how he solves this problem. He has a car, he has a key to his mum's place, we live in a city, and he can get his laptop from me on his way to work tomorrow. He has everything he could possibly need to deal with this, but he's determined to come slamming back to someone who hates his guts right now. I think Reddit has riled me up, but I'm riding the high and all of my frustration is just spewing out. I didn't even know I was so angry about half of it. And next, how about another wedding? Am I the asshole for not telling my husband he smells sooner and ruining a friend's wedding? Yeah, this is going to be something, isn't it? This week was the wedding of two of my husband's 33 male and my 31 female longtime friends. For some background, recently we've been having some issues. I told him I needed some space, so we agreed he should move back in with his mom temporarily. I wasn't thrilled about this because she tends to baby him, though I had to accept it as he had nowhere else to go and I wanted him out of the house. I wondered what to do about the wedding. We talked and decided it would be best for us to go together, and for him to move back home afterwards. He didn't have time before the wedding to pack up his things and so got ready at his mom's while I got ready at home and we planned to meet there. When he arrived, I was already chatting with friends. He came over to us and immediately I noticed this rotten stench on him. He smelled like he'd been dumpster diving. It made my eyes water a little. I noticed our friends noticing, but he was completely oblivious and kept on chatting. I tried to let him know discreetly, but he was not getting the hint at all. We took our seats in the chapel and the service was beautiful. By this point, my nose had pretty much tuned out the smell, but it was clearly affecting other people, and I still hadn't had a chance to let him know. After the service, I saw an old girlfriend I hadn't seen in years and wanted to catch up. Apparently, while I was chatting with her, a friend had pulled hubby aside and basically told him he stunk. He got upset and demanded we leave immediately. In the car, we argued, and he told me I was a horrible wife to let him embarrass himself like that in front of friends, and I was probably laughing behind his back. He said that I knew he could be forgetful, and since he was my responsibility as his wife, I should have called him up at his mom's to remind him to shower. Usually he'll come in when I'm in. I was speechless and said nothing the entire car ride home while he berated me. This morning I checked my phone and we have both been removed from a number of group chats that included friends that went to the wedding. I heard through some friends that the bride feels we ruined her day. More people were talking about my husband than we thought, and she no longer wants to speak with us. I'm shocked and really hurt by this and have been feeling guilty all day. I didn't want to embarrass him by letting him know when other people were around, but now I've cost him friends and feel like I handled it all horribly. So am I the asshole? All this madness about being reminded in the first place aside, how do you not remember to take a shower before a formal occasion like a wedding? What did he show up wearing to make this make sense to me? Update. Thanks for all of your comments and advice. I've really been rethinking our relationship over the past few days. Last night a friend sent this post to my husband and he went off on me again. Seeing him like this hurt, but it was the push I needed to realize that the best thing for me is to leave. I'm moving in with a friend tonight and we'll work it out from then on. My husband is out right now and I'm packing. Thank you guys for helping me realize that this wasn't healthy. I'm gonna go not the asshole. Your husband is the one who ruined their day by showing up smelling like a whale carcass. You could have said something. You did not. From his reaction, I bet he'd be mad either way, telling him or not telling him. And honestly, he should be embarrassed. He is a grown man, living with his mom, who still requires his wife to call him daily to remind him to shower. F that. Yeah, I guess another great relationship bites the dust. Sounds like it was already on the way out though, to be fair. Let's read one more, also somewhat marriage-related story. Am I the asshole for saying my terminally ill stepsister can't have my mom's engagement ring? My mom died when I was 7. Before she died, she gave my uncle, her brother, the engagement ring their grandma bought for her, to save for me if I, 20 male, ever wanted to give it to a future fiancé or daughter. My dad remarried when I was 10 and his wife had 2 daughters. Evelyn was 12 and Amy was 3. I am not all that close to either Evelyn or Amy, but there's no hard feelings there. Evelyn was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer last month. Her boyfriend proposed to her and she had mentioned wanting my mom's engagement ring because of how pretty it was. Her boyfriend told my dad's wife and my dad's wife told my dad. All 3 of them told me Evelyn wanted the ring and said I would get it back in a few months when she's gone, but it would be nice to fulfill this wish of hers given the circumstances. I said she could not have the engagement ring, but I would give them a photo to replicate it if they want. They didn't like that I said no to giving her the ring. They told me I am denying my dying sister a family ring. I told them she is not my sister and it's not her family ring. It's my family ring. Evelyn has nothing to do with the ring. I asked how she even knew about it, and my dad said she had seen photos of it over the years, and that he showed her the drawings that were made of the ring and the photos that my mom had kept around. That he thought showing the girls that was a nice bonding moment when they were young. My dad's wife pleaded with me. She even had Evelyn write a letter for me to read, saying how much she'd love to wear it and get married wearing it. My answer was still no. I am getting shit from the 3 of them, Dad, his wife, Evelyn's fiancé. Am I the asshole? Absolutely not. I mean, he covered it very simply. It's his mother's family heirloom and has literally nothing to do with his stepsister. Here are the top comments from people who are even more suspicious than I am. You will not get that ring back. Her fiancé or her mom will say it means so much to them. And want her to go to the grave with it. Sounds harsh, but then you'll literally have to pry it off her deceased hand. Let's not forget that if he gets the ring back, it will be too hard for his father and wife to see it in another girl's finger. It will be heartless for him to do it with his sister's memory and use her ring. There's a good reason his mother gave the ring to her brother to keep safe and not the father before she passed away. Let me know what you think in the comments if you want, of course. I like to pick stories where it's obvious who the asshole is because they're usually more outrageous and fun. Anyway, it's about all the time I have for you today. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you liked the video, please give it a like. If you have something to say about the stories or about my content in general, make sure you let me hear it in the comments. I'll be reading those, and I'm probably wrong all the time in these videos anyway. If you're new here and want more of the same, consider subscribing. It helps me out, I think. Big thanks also to my awesome patrons who actually give me money over on Patreon. It really helps me be able to keep doing this. I will be back with more content soon. Have a great day, everyone, and make sure you call me with a reminder or I probably won't remember to bathe.